It's very cranky all the time. Is it something that the handwriting can identify? I'm sure you want to stay glued to your radio sets this morning and find out all of this. And for adventure, there's something you want to share with us, maybe from your partner. You can give us a handwriting sample, and I'm sure that Dipo McJoe will be able to let us into that one as well. So that's what it's going to be looking like during the course of the program.
Right, all that and more on Talk Time with Victor Oteri.
Riding my whip, south to the west, to the east, to the north, bump my hips and watch them go off, and yes, sure.
What should we talk about? That we came in to play chess, we saw your thievery and stealing and looting.
It's a healthy chat.
If we talk about corporate social responsibilities, we should talk about it in relative terms.
A healthy dialogue for a relaxed atmosphere.
At a time like this, when the country is passing through very serious security challenges, we feel all hands must be on deck.
The purpose of the bill is to provide an economic and safety oversight regime for the regulated transport sector.
It's Talk Time on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Talk Time brings you current happenings in the social, political, and economic arena in the country, exploring the noble, ignoble, and incredible.
Monitoring that as well from our live cameras, heading towards Allen intersection. Okay, then, so we'll be serving you more helpings as it relates to that from time to time. We can tell you too all the routes leading out of Lagos right now. If you want to make that journey, of course, Lagos Ibadan Expressway is still very, very accessible. Lagos Abeokuta is not bad at all, and if you want to make use of the Ekpe corridor too, it's also looking good. But there was an impediment around the Ekpe corridor not too long ago, which we are also tracking. It's receiving attention, by the way, and you heard from Mike James as he talked about that. It's at the T junction connecting Okiosho, right? That's where it is. But of course, we are tracking that one as well. And the traffic managers are on ground trying to sort things out within that particular location. All right, then. So on the program this morning, it's all about relationships, and we are analyzing relationships the right way. All right. Sometimes when you are into a relationship with someone, there's the tendency that there are so many things that you might overlook, right? Because probably you are falling in love. But Dr. Wright is here to tell us how we can approach this kind of relationships, but majorly how we can use handwriting to identify some certain traits about the person that you are relating with. Let's bring Dr. Wright to the microphone. Dipo McJoe, Nigeria's foremost handwriting and graphology. All right, he's a handwriting analyst and foremost graphologist. He is also a non-verbal intelligence expert. He's right here with us in the studios. Dr. Wright, nice to have you in the building. Good morning.
Good morning, Victor.
All right.
James, good morning, Lagos.
All right. Now, one of the reasons why we're doing this is exactly a week after Valentine. Last week, Friday, was February 14th. And I know there are lots of things. We wanted to have a session on that during that period, but we just couldn't have the time. And that's why we want to revisit that this morning. Lagos was agog with lots of love, people going out to buy gifts, people doing all sorts of things. But Dr. Wright, let's talk about relationships this morning. So is there a way handwriting can identify, your true partner, or perhaps will tell you who your partner is?
Oh, yes, so the handwriting can reveal a lot of things. Like we've been doing this campaign for some years now, Victor. Shout out to Side Mirror, Traffic Radio. So the whole essence of it is because human behavior is very complex. Human beings are not just complex in nature, but also in nurture. So you want to ensure that you put your best foot forward and you're able to manage the expectations that you are receiving from each relationship you are into.
All right.
Like I normally say, every everything has to do with the relationship you are involved in, whether you're talking about leadership or membership or followership, even hardship is traceable to the way you are managing relationship. Nobody just becomes a governor.
Let's do that again. I mean, I love those rhymes.
Those rhymes, right? So,
yeah.
So everything is on relationship, whether it's about leadership, it's about membership, it's about followership, even about hardship. If somebody is having a lot of hardship, go and find out. There's something about the person's relationship.
That's relationship with the people and the environment.
Yeah. So something is wrong with the way you are relating. So because relationship capital is key in our contemporary times. You cannot become anything without leveraging relationships, your circle. So how can we understand people? So we spend time trying to understand people using several other ways except the right way, the WRITE way.
That's right. Using writing.
Writing. So for us, the campaign is that we are aware that there are so many typologies, that psychology has made available. So I'm sure you remember sanguine, melancholic, phlegmatic, different typologies have categorized human behavior, human beings. So there's another one, HBDI. Human brain dominant instrument that has categorized human being into 4 colors. So you have a red. A red individual is somebody that is very, very emotional, sentimental. For while I was a medical representative for one of those companies, we studied every single doctor that was our client based on the color. So a red doctor would write prescriptions on the basis of you being there. So if he was celebrating an event and you came around as a medical representative, that was a lot of thumbs up for you. The next time you showed up in the consulting room, you remember that, this was the medical rep that showed up. All right, so what's that your drug? You understand? Now, for a blue doctor, it's different. A blue doctor is just, concerned about the rationality behind it, numbers, they are figures driven. Most of those are the helm of affairs. They are blue guys. So it's about the objectivity. They are not sentimental.
At all.
Yellow is the risk taker. The green is an average civil service person is green. They follow templates. So those are different typologies. But there's also a way to understand people, to understand relationships. It is through the right way, and that is the area that is being ignored. But it's so loaded. Right. That's why we're having this conversation.
So let's talk about that now. So in Nigeria, it's very, very low for us to be thinking of assessing people using writing. Is that it?
Yes, it hasn't really gained that level of traction, but it's better than it was before. And that's because especially because the writing can reveal so much more about people beyond just the personality assessment. The handwriting can also reveal up to the health of the person.
We'll talk about that. But what we're used to in this part of the world, Dr. Wright, is that we only use writing to assess people during criminal cases, especially in the when the police is involved or that kind of a thing, or like you said, just for personal assessment when you want to get a job.
I think it's even more for personal assessment. I don't even think the
police use that.
They don't leverage that. So maybe for forensic document examination, for forensic cases, you can have expert witnesses, take a particular handwriting and they do a forensic investigation on maybe a signature or whatever. But that angle is even still yet untapped.
So you're saying now that if we tap into it, definitely Nigeria can benefit more?
I definitely, the entire nation is going to benefit more.
So let's talk about, what are the processes? how can we begin to decipher all of this now? Leveraging relationships, using writing as a tool, to identify people more so that we can relate to them better. How can that process begin?
Yeah, so of course the starting point is understanding that there are different kinds of relationships. So you have man and woman relationship, or maybe husband and wife, or man and woman. Yeah, I don't want to say boy girl.
Okay.
So there are things you need to understand about the person you're in relationship with, and that can help you handle certain things better. Some of the relationships that eventually hit the rocks, it was not because certain things were beyond redemption. It was just that the individuals involved didn't understand themselves the right way. So if you could pick certain things from the handwriting of that individual you're in a relationship with, your approach will be better.
And then your decision making will be better. Is that what it is?
Will be better, yes. So a teacher-student relationship, for example, there are students that will not ask questions in class, not because they are less intelligent, it's because they are just cumulative learners. They will take their time before they learn. That's a cumulative learner. They are not less intelligent than their counterparts that are very fast, in grabbing concepts. So, but for a teacher that is well-grounded or has a little bit of knowledge in graphology, for example, or understanding a student or a pupil the right way. So, before they even resume classes, you will have understood who your students are and how to deal with them. This one will not ask questions, so I don't need to put him on the spot.
Okay.
And they might be the ones getting the best of scores, so and so many other things. The ones that are rather shy, you will see from the handwriting. The handwriting will reveal it. How they cope with stress, the handwriting can show that. There are 3 fundamental ways we do cope with stress, and the handwriting can pick it. Either you are aggressive, you are compliant, or you are avoidant.
All right. So how can writing, this kind of writing that we're talking about now, how can it help individuals process their emotions and even thoughts about the relationships that they are?
So the starting point is being aware that you can get that kind of knowledge from the handwriting. Okay? So knowing that you can pick beyond the surface just from a handwriting sample, that is the starting point. Then the next level is, how do you expose yourself to this kind of knowledge? So for example, I said I was going to talk about one parameter that you can use to analyze somebody. I said I was going to talk about that today.
Yes.
Which is the slant.
Okay, let's talk about that now.
So the slant is one of the very many parameters you use in analyzing people.
So what do you mean by the slant?
So the slant. So we have slant, slope, size, margin, pressure,
In the writing?
Yes, in the handwriting, because they all reveal different things about the individual. So, but the slant is the first thing you really notice when you take a handwriting sample. So you can have 4 types of slants.
Okay.
So either the handwriting slants to the right, or slants to the left, or it's looking straight, which is the vertical. We call it vertical slant. Or it is back and forth. So it slants to the right and the left. That is back and forth slant.
Okay.
So if the handwriting slants to the right, you can have different dimensions of slants also to the right. So, but it's not that's not what we will talk about. I won't go into those details, but just understand that the handwriting can slant to the right.
Okay.
So if it slants to the right, you are seeing somebody that is very expressive. If nobody talks in the meeting, that person is going to talk.
Okay. So that's handwriting.
Yeah.
It's like,
so
once it slides to the right.
Once you pick up any handwriting sample and you are saying right slant, you can take that to the bank. 10 out of 10 times, that's an expressive individual. If you are looking for a position of a PRO, okay, or a position that involves somebody talking, that is a good thing to look out for in that handwriting, because they would express, they would talk. In fact, when we do this for organizations, and maybe we are trying to, they're trying to shortlist for HR position, we pay attention to the right slant, a right slanted handwriting, as against, at least it must have right slant and it must have narrow word spacing. The narrow word spacing, don't bother your head about that for now. But right slant is key, because if you have a handwriting sample that is left slanted and maybe large word spacing, that HR manager is not going to really be talking.
So it's not an expressive person.
It's not really an expressive person. So everything is just a yes boss thing from the, So, but you must have, an HR manager that can also express on behalf of the members of staff.
That's right. Okay, so that's something to look out for. If we want to really, really pick out in certain things in the relationship. But when we're talking about emotions and thoughts now, what other things can one look out for?
Yeah, so, the emotionality is seen in slant still. So slant still carries a lot about emotionality.
Okay.
Apart from, the fact that when you see that slant, it shows expression. The other thing you see in the slant is that you can see somebody that is people-oriented. The slant also talks about the fact that somebody is people-oriented, somebody is extroverted in nature, is compliant. You know, they are quite good when it comes to hospitality business. Okay, so attention, affection, approval is important to them, particularly if the handwriting sizes are also big. You know, so quite a lot you can get just, understanding what the slant is. That's the right slant. The left slant is for somebody that is cautious, somebody that is conservative, somebody that is calculated. They are not the risk takers.
Okay.
So they will have ensured that everybody has gone into that thing before they are getting into it.
Right. Let's talk about the relationship that will lead to a marriage. So, for instance, a man and a woman. Okay. So, if you have that kind of relationship, what are the things that one should watch out for from the handwriting?
Also, there are so many things, but the most important thing is, according to graphology principle, handwriting samples that are similar shows those that will likely stay longer together.
You mean it?
Yeah. So that's so it's not opposite that attracts,
like
graphology.
As the normal thing that people say.
Yes. So
opposite doesn't attract in graphology.
In graphology, for relationship compatibility, it is similar writings attract. So if you see handwriting samples that are similar, they are going to flow more. It doesn't mean that if you see a handwriting sample with opposing traits that they cannot get married. That's not what we are saying, but we're just saying that from studies over time, those that have similar handwritings flow more. And you know, they make use of this even in personnel selection in a team. So you have a team. So for example, traffic radio, maybe once you embark on a project, you are in all the members of staff. A proper knowledge of graphology can help you know who to position in a particular group. Okay. Otherwise, you can have too much energy in a particular group and less energy in another group. So how do you, from the handwriting, balance it? Yes, everything has to do with balance, equilibrium.
Right. So will the handwriting reveal if the person I'm going to get settled down with will be somebody that will be nagging?
For a graphologist, the nagging is not like a trait, but there are certain traits that are traceable to nagging. So a typical person that nags has a little bit of aggression, okay, or is easily angered. So you want to check some of those traits in the handwriting, and that gives you an idea of whether or not this person is very impatient and maybe a bit also sarcastic. So sarcasm is a trait in graphology. You can see sarcasm.
So you can see that from the handwriting.
Yeah. So ultimately, that would trace to the fact that this person has a tendency to nag or to complain or to grumble over issues when the person is under pressure. So
will you show if somebody is stingy?
So stinginess. Well, we don't call it stinginess.
Because that's something that will interest the ladies. They want to know if their man is somebody that will be able to take care of them.
Oh yeah, so there are traits in the handwriting that will show that this person can minimize or can be very meticulous, or can manage the little he or she is given. So how you now extrapolate that is also important. So from the handwriting, it shows whether somebody is very extravagant. Okay, when you see an extravagant handwriting, you have an idea, this one, if you give this person 10K, this person is going to blow 9,000 out of it to do whatever. But the one that would try to use 5K to achieve 15,000 naira worth of whatever, that can also be seen in the handwriting. And
you mean it?
These are things we've demonstrated.
So
prudence, yes. So traits of prudence can be seen in the handwriting. In fact, Victor, for landlords, and I know for landowners or landlords, they can hear this.
Right.
From the handwriting, you can find out that guy that is not going to pay your rent, that is not going to renew the rent.
You mean it?
It's an interesting area, but that accountant that you want to be sure before you hire, because he's not good with numbers. Okay, and if he's not good with numbers, you are going to have a lot of conversation around what happened here.
Right.
Mr. Lagbaja, what happened here? So
the handwriting can reveal that.
Yes, graphology is so massive.
Wow. So let's talk about some other traits now. Especially, we're still trying to probe into marriage relationships now for the couple and all of that. So will the handwriting also be able to reveal the sexual orientation, or perhaps,
Yes.
that's always something very interesting for
Yeah.
people who want to get down.
Yes, so I mean, we've said that at different times on this program. So for many churches or counselors, one of the things we try to recommend is, while the intended couple are trying to, they are having their premarital counseling sessions, one of the sessions they should have should be along this line. So I make use of this, while I was, in my church, while I was still in the marriage committee. I made use of this as part of the things they needed to bring, their handwriting sample.
Okay.
So, and it was just on one basis. Let me find out the energy of the two of you. What are we looking out for in the two of you? So, in the process, I also have an idea of, their energy, their libido. I don't tell them that, but
Right.
I can see some of those things there.
You mean it?
Yeah. So, you don't necessarily have to sample the person
Before you
can find out the energy level of the individual
right from the handwriting.
From the handwriting, yes.
Okay.
Handwriting
So
can
that
reveal
will tell you what direction you are going into. So it's not a case of saying, no, let me test this, test that before we marry.
Not necessarily. So,
Okay,
and
so-
there are sometimes, some handwritings can appear very, very average. Meanwhile, by the time they get married, the person is, a Van Damme or a Stallone. So,
Right.
but at least you can see very basic things.
So will the handwriting tell me if my intending spouse will be able to cook well?
Victor, no, that's not going to show.
It will show.
No.
Okay.
Organizational skills, yes. Okay, that this person is a good planner. This person has good planning skills. So sometimes, just from the handwriting, you can be very, very assured of this person's ability to stay within time.
Right.
Okay, certain things can be extrapolated, but not directly like, oh, are you going to be able to cook well? No, graphology won't do that.
Okay.
But graphology can tell whether you have good aesthetic, tastes, and that shows even from your handwriting. It will show whether you pay attention to details.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody pays attention to details, likely you're going to pay attention to details regarding your body also,
Right.
and maybe other areas.
So let's talk more about some things now. These are personal. You go out there, you see this guy looking very, very cool. I mean, well dressed and all of. But back home, or perhaps when he gets to his cocoon, as I can say it, he's so raw, just thrown everywhere. I mean, he cannot fold. Even to fold his covering clothes for the bed is an issue. Same for the ladies as well. They come out looking so beautiful
with
and all of
perfumes.
that, perfumes, and about getting back home, they're so disorganized. So will the handwriting reveal this to me?
So that's why for us, don't just base it on the looks alone. All right, try and understand the person the right way. Try and find a way of getting across, to the person to submit a handwriting sample. Get a handwriting sample of that individual, and probably run a test on it. It doesn't mean that the person is bad. The person just has a flaw maybe he or she needs to deal with. All right, so from the handwriting, you can know whether somebody is well organized or not. If somebody is not organized, is likely going to throw the towel on the bed rather than hang it. The person is likely going to press the toothpaste maybe in the middle as against at the base. All those things reveal things about the individual. So the handwriting says a whole lot more, and we are saying try and understand people from their handwriting, because it gives you a lot of clue even without them saying a word.
All right, then Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. This is Talk Time, and Dikwa McJob is here with us. Dr. Wright, we call him. He's Nigeria's foremost handwriting analyst and, of course, non-verbal intelligence expert. Let's get back to the roads right now. Lagos Ibadan Expressway from the control room says vehicular movement coming into Lagos from Kara inwards New Garage, Berja on both inwards and outward corridors still looking very, very good. Flowing freely at the moment. Proceeding towards Oteri inward Secretariat, emergency point, talking about the U-turn there, and the toll gate, U-turn, motorways, Chinatown, Alakpere, Ogudu, Ifako, Iyanowuru, linking up with the 3rd Mainland Bridge, moving very, very well at this time. Adekunle Inwat Adeniji proceeding through Obalinde and Onikon, respectively, all looking pretty good at this time. Simpson underneath the bridge, linking up with Osborne and Bayo Kuku on Alfred Rwani, very encouraging as well. Considering the alternations, Falamo Inwat Akin Adeshola is very okay too, and Gerald Alexander connecting Lekki Ikoyi Link Bridge very much in good shape. We can tell you Awolowo Road is also perfect for now, and the return journey, nothing to worry. We have traffic managers visibly saying trying to manage the situation. Taking you to Ekpe Corridor this morning, breakdown of a gas tanker with a mechanical problem. This is at Ontario, inwards T Junction. All right, the owner is already making efforts to get it fixed and moved off the road, but no much effect on the traffic right now. Okay, so you can also join the conversation this morning. You can ask your own questions as well. 08099120777. We're talking analyzing relationships the right way, and Dikwa McJob has given us, different kind of relationships, and of course, he's letting us into how we can identify and perhaps work better with people if we can really, identify some of those handwriting stuffs from them. Okay then, so feel free, 09153877127, 09153877127. That's the numbers that you can call, or perhaps you can send your message to 08099120777. There's a message here for you, Dikbo. It says, good morning, Victor and Mr. Dikbo. Does handwriting change over time? And if so, does that mean people change too? Dakbo. Dakbo is sending that one. Okay.
Yeah, should we take that?
Dakbo from Oyingbo. Yes. Right. Thank you so much, Dakbo, for that one. Yes.
All right. So, from research, handwriting changes a bit, at least every 3.5 years.
Every 3.5 years?
Yes, from forensic studies.
Okay.
So there will be something that will change from your handwriting, and ultimately affect your personality in a way. Okay, don't forget that what we call handwriting is actually from the brain, and that's why some people can still do things, even without them using their hands. If it was called handwriting, how come somebody can draw with the mouth, somebody can paint with the leg? So the writing impulses are actually from the brain. They only travel through the muscles of the hands onto the, through the fingers onto your paper. So to say it, that way, the handwriting changes a little bit. You might not notice how it has changed, but just remember how you learned handwriting while you were in school, through the copybook. The copybook is what we call this thing that we use in primary school, and like A, that you dot it, A, B, and you just connect the dots, and they hold the hand of the pupil. That's the copybook. In Nigerian system, we use the Nelson copybook. Now, for the copybook, everybody dots the line, and it appears as though that is the way everybody's writing. But after a time, your personality, comes into play, and so you write your own letter A, different from the way
somebody else will write.
Mike James will write his own letter A, from every other person. So that's the personality that comes to play.
Okay, so from time to time, the handwriting will change.
Yes, it changes.
All right, this one says, Mr. McJob, it said, Mr. McJob, have you ever analyzed a couple's handwriting and predicted a breakup before it happened? If your wife is saying this one, if your wife, why are you going that way now?
There's a beautiful question from us. So let me say that the answer is yes, but for ethical reasons, you do not tell them
that they will break up.
Yes, so your work as a graphologist is not tell them that this is your relationship, it will break. They won't pay you even your balance. So you don't do that. So our job, just like in recruitment, our job is to let them know the red flags. Yes, the truth we are seeing, all the red flags that, okay, in the lady or in the the guy, I think you need to calm yourself down, because you get angry a little bit easily. You are more impulsive. You are a bit impatient. If you're a bit impatient, you might find it difficult to delay gratification. So if your spouse to be is the type that can save for Nigeria, that can cause friction, because you feel, let's spend this money. Meanwhile, the other one is feeling, no, let's save for the raining day. So all those things can bring friction between the marriage. But We chip in counseling when we need to, but the areas that are really red flags, major red flags, we just tell individuals about the traits and tell them the decision is up to you. Usually, before they even come to meet a graphologist, they made up their minds on when they are planning to get married. Or so we are saying, can we do even this earlier than when they've done the court wedding?
So, at what point should they come to a graphologist?
Ideally, before courtship. If you are sensing that this guy is showing positive energy towards you, is gonna break the ice someday.
Right.
Can you find a way of getting his handwriting? Just playfully get his handwriting sample and try to figure out who is this person. It's a form of background check. That's what we have to understand.
Okay, so they're going to come with the 2 samples for
no, at least you can find out. So I'm talking about those in the relationship.
Okay.
So if it's a lady, try and get hold of the guy's handwriting sample. All right, I will have said only even the signature alone, but the signature won't give us a lot of data, enough data. So find a way of getting the handwriting sample, and there are a number of practitioners in this field, even not necessarily in this country, but even outside the shores of this country,
right,
and give you a good analysis.
Will the handwriting show anybody who's going to be trusting?
Yeah. So research has shown there are some traits. There's a trait called credibility. Okay. Now, in my own practice, I'm careful before I use that trait, even though, Victor, it was funny that a particular person I was in some kind of partnership with many years ago,
right,
wrote a check. We were supposed to, run the program together. The person wrote a check, and on that check, the 2 zeros inside that check had the trait of what we call prevarication. Prevarication as in lies.
Okay.
That trait was there. I've just kept myself away from that trait. All the graphology books I read, I deliberately just didn't check that. I just feel that how can a trait really show that? But Victor, I kid you not, it eventually happened.
Turned out to be a fake check.
No, not even a fake check, but the individual himself was not straightforward.
Wow.
Okay, so I would say credibility is a trait in graphology, and from practice, I found out that maybe 6 out of 10 situations you find it that way too.
So it happens.
Yeah. So,
all right,
but I'm very careful before I quickly pick a sample and say, oh, this person is not a credible individual.
All right. There's something I'm going to be bringing out even before we round up the program. Is something that is very common these days in marriages. All right, but let's get to the roads. The broken down container laden truck with hub problem at the T junction inwards Okeosho. That's within the Ekpe corridor. I understand that one has been taken off, so it's very good driving through that corridor right now. Thank you so much. From the control room, 08099120777, 09153877127. Any questions for Dikwa McJob this morning, feel free to bring that on, and of course he'll be able to respond to you as well. Some messages are still coming in. Let me see this one. This one says, good morning, Victor and the guest. My name is Tajuddin. In this age of in this age that most communication my name is Tajuddin. In this age of that most communication in writing
is digital.
Are done through digital.
Yeah.
Is it not possible to misjudge people who, for example, write traditionally once in many months? So how can graphology detect people's mental mental writing in digital form? All right, thank you so much, Tajuddin, for this one as well. So how can you do that?
Yeah, so I get that question all the time. So provided you can write digitally. If it's a digital pen you are using and you are using it to write, graphology can analyze it, provided you are not typing.
Okay, so graphology can still analyze that.
Yes. So if you are not typing, if you are typing, that's different, because what is going to come out is going to be the same. Calibri is the same. The same Calibri on Microsoft Word is the same Calibri.
Right.
You're saying.
Okay, you know what, Tajuddin, I need you to call and just talk a bit about relationship now, and ask Dikwa McJob. Maybe there are some intriguing questions that you have. Feel free to do that one as well. This one says, hi, can graphology help someone choose the right partner? Lovette Onyema is saying that one in Lovette. Thank you so much. Are you looking for a spouse?
Yeah, love it. So that's a lovely question. Now, it gives you, it puts you in a vantage position, actually. All right. So, from the handwriting, you can see a lot of good traits, okay, that speak to the individual's personality. So, but that is not the only thing you want to use. All right. The handwriting will not show whether this person is necessarily tall or short. So, if
it will not show that.
No, it's not going to show that, the exact height. So if you now prefer somebody that is tall, okay, that is a separate thing. You have to assess that by seeing the person physically. But the handwriting can reveal the person's basic traits, and if there are red flags, it's also going to show that to you. So all that will form your decision at the end of the day.
Okay, Grandma Layinka, I need you to call. You sent a message, but I need you to call and ask this question. It says, Mr. Dikpo, good morning. If a writing is bold, beautiful, and
bold, okay,
cohesive, I suspect. Cohesive lady. You say, what does it mean?
Bold, beautiful, and cohesive.
Right.
So I would have
what is the spelling of this profession?
So I would have wanted her to clarify what she meant by cohesive, so because.
All right, Grandma Layinka, please just call us 09153.
But if it's bold, I'm assuming that she's talking about the size. A very big sized handwriting is talking about somebody that is social, somebody that is outgoing, extroverted, So we now depend on, is it slanting to the right? Is it slanting to the left? Is it vertical? Is it back and forth? Are there wide word spacing? And stuff like that. But
a bold
handwriting shows somebody that, they want to be seen.
Okay.
The bigger the size of the handwriting, the more this person wants to really be seen, to be noticed. They will show you that they are in the meeting.
Okay.
They are not going to keep quiet.
All right. So, Dipo, the big question I wanted to ask you, will a handwriting sample show someone who will cheat on you?
Interesting. Well, no research has been done on that. All right. No research has been done strictly on the fact that, the handwriting is revealing just on that. But maybe by extrapolating things around credibility and prevarication, maybe, in the next half a decade or thereabout, they might begin to figure that out.
Okay.
So, but
prevarication means lying, right?
Yes. So, but there are certain traits in the handwriting that show somebody is unstable. Somebody has very, very loose moral discipline. So, when those things are there, a combination of other things help you to make an informed decision that, okay, this person is turning towards this angle. But no study has categorically been done on that fact you mentioned.
Can the handwriting show somebody who's jealous?
No, no jealousy. Jealousy has not been discovered. Jealousy hasn't been a trait. Jealousy is a trait in trait stroke graphology, but not in that format. Okay. That this person is a jealous person. For me, I see that trait in some graphology textbooks, but in practice, I've not really verified that to be true.
All right.
So they just called it jealousy, not like this person is jealous. That's not how it applies.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can the handwriting show that this person is more into himself than ready to share?
Yes. That you see a lot.
That's very possible.
That is, you see a lot of that.
So if I see that, that's telling me that's a red flag, ain't it?
Depending on the context. So if the context you want to apply that, it needs that person to be more open or to give out more, then somebody that takes in more, withholds more, will be a red flag. But in a situation where you are looking for somebody that can keep in more, then that won't be a red flag. That would just be ideal.
This one says, good morning, Traffic Radio. Are there handwriting signs that suggest a person is emotionally unavailable?
Yes.
Osas from Iju is saying this. Osas, thank you so much.
Emotional unavailability. A typical example is when you see large word spacing.
Large word spacing?
Yes, spacing between words. Like when you look at the handwriting sample, it's like you're seeing You are seeing, tunnels. I mean, how do I call it? You are seeing different channels. There's free space. That is somebody that is just keeping to himself or herself.
Wow.
That's a typical example.
All right. Anyway, you've spoken a lot this morning, and you've been able to analyze so many things that we need to watch out for in relationships. Are there handwriting samples that would portray that this person likes to quarrel? Somebody who's always seen in the form of quarreling with people.
So combination. So we have what we call handwriting. What do I call it now?
Combinations.
Yes. So if you see somebody that is impulsive and somebody that has a little bit of temper tantrums in the handwriting, that is enough to have an idea of the fact that this person is likely has a high propensity for quarreling. Okay, so impulsiveness, temper tantrums, those two, well, if you see it, the chances that person is going to fall into that category is high.
Okay.
So,
all right,
can make do with that.
All right. So even as a round of flash update coming in right now from the Okiodo end, let me just see if we can run through that. It's a breakdown actually. Okiodo, I understand that there's a broken down loaded trailer with perishables at Ilepo inwards Iyanakwaja, just by the old Oteri Road. We have that one there, but officers on ground managing the situation. All right, while transloading is ongoing. Let me see if we can just sneak this call in as I wrap up, because I know some of you are still very eager to talk to Dikko McJob. Hello there.
Hello.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Adelaide.
Adelaide, talk to me quickly.
Yes, a quick look at the situation of the reporter this hour. I was still having a good flow on Lagos Abeokuta Expressway at this hour. Aside the impediment, I just reported at Ilepo end.
Okay.
I'm trying to negotiate inward Old Oteri Road at that end, so I entered into the ditch.
Okay.
So not really impeding our flow for now, but better while they have efforts on it to get off the road.
Okay.
There are better movement aside our bus stop activities at here and quite on that next week. And Agege Motor Road corridor at this hour also from Ilezi and still a good flow for now.
Right.
Linking Bolade Junction and Mushin, considering the alternation point and face section of the road along that part. So, and Lagos Ibadan Expressway at this hour as well.
It's also looking good. All right. Thank you so much, Adelaide, for that one. All right, so let's begin to wrap this up now, Dikko McJob. For those who need this kind of knowledge, how can they get this?
All right, so just send us a DM on this number, 070-6245-6737. You want to learn how to analyze people's handwriting or make a profession from handwriting analysis. 070-6245-6737. And you can follow me also on Instagram at Dikko McJob.
Right. Nice having you in the building, and I hope that people would have learned a lot from this morning, and they're able to make good use of it. But much more importantly is for you to go learn this kind of skill so that you can also help to broaden development in Nigeria. Dikko McJob, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. So we've been able to analyze relationships the right way, right here being WRITE. And we've been doing this from time to time. We have to go. The program this morning has been produced by Mike James. And I say a big thank you to Remy Aluko as well as Deborah Bolidioku. All of them, our social media unit, for making all of this possible. Also to our executive producer, Tayo Akonle. My name is Victor Oteri. Still be back by 10:15 for Maritime Today.